Well, welcome back to the scoreboard on a night in which we are looking at some of those positive stories as we get onto the Easter weekend. We've spoken about Omanyala, we've spoken about the Ulinzi Sports Complex. So let's now turn our attention to a young lady who's become the darling of the nation. She shot into prominence at the start of the year at the Australian Open, and all of a sudden, everyone became an expert at what happens in tennis and who's Angela Okutoi. All of a sudden, we all turned into tennis fans, and tonight, we're chatting with her just to find out from her how's they going so far, what are her plans as we head on to the French Open. And she's not by herself in studio. We made sure that, you know what, she's only 18, so why not bring someone who is a guide, her mentor, her administrator, and a person who's synonymous with tennis. So I've got with me in studio Angela Okutoi, the tennis prodigy from Kenya, and Wanji Mbogwa. I struggle, Wanji, to call you anything else other than Wanji, but it's Wanjiro Mbogwa Karani. Yes? Yes. But thank you very much, ladies, for coming in. And let me just start off with Angela. Angela, how are you, and how was the tour up north?
Thank you so much for having me here, and I'm great. And the tour in the north, it wasn't the best for me, I would say, but like I'm grateful for the opportunity I had to be there. And I believe I've learned some things from that tour, which is really important. And just taking something from the tour was nice because I played with some big players, like they were older than me, so I got some experience, and also the tour was nice.
How do you deal with the tour when things are not going according to plan? After the highs of Australian Open, where everyone was seeing you going places, then you go into a tour where things are not quite going according to plan. How do you readjust to it? How do you deal with that?
Well, for me, in my mind, I usually say, like, you're gonna win and you're gonna lose. You're not going to be at your best every time. There's up and down. So that's what I think is always in my mind. And yes, it's true, it wasn't the best, but like I usually have, like, I write down the good things that happen in the tour and the bad things, and then I'm able to like put all of them together and come with like something positive out of it, which really helped me a lot.
Wanji, for starters, just how proud are you when you see the exploits that Angie is undertaking and the achievements that she's getting?
We are, as Tennis Kenya, we are extremely proud of Angie because we've come a very long way with her. She has been part of the Junior Tennis Initiative and then moved on to the ITF Center, and then now here we are. So Tennis Kenya has been part of this journey for a very long time. She's actually been an agenda item in the meetings. So for us guys, this is a very proud moment, a great year.
And if I may just go back to you, because you're synonymous with Tennis Kenya. When I first covered tennis, you were there, you and Francis Mutuku. How far back do you go with tennis? You're almost part of the furniture or the foundation of tennis in this country.
Yes, you could say so. I have been a player, and I played until I played Fed Cup, which was maybe until I was about 27 years old or thereabouts. And from then on, I trained to be a coach, and I'm an ITF Level 2 coach. And from there on, I started the Tennis Kenya office. So I sat in the secretariat for a while before finally I decided now to go into management. And I've been sitting on the Tennis Kenya board for about 7 years now. There was 3 years of an interim, as part of an interim committee. And then we've just finished our first term on the board.
So what's the structure like for us to get a few more Angies? Because this country, we are famous for happy accidents. Cricket was a happy accident. Some people say Maisa might have been the only solid thing in football for the last 20 years. What's the structure like to make sure that we are finding the next Angie?
Tennis Kenya has a very clear structure, and we start with the grassroots program, which is it's known as the Junior Tennis Initiative. We have a coordinator who goes around the country just encouraging children to play tennis. And this, by this I mean all kids. We have about 20 public schools on this program, and we give them rackets and balls and teach the teachers how to teach tennis, how to coach tennis. And that's the first step. Then from there, the very good ones, then from there we hold competitions, and the very good ones are then picked for the national tennis training program. And from there, then now they move to the next stage where they are playing events. And then if they are lucky, we have had a couple of, how many players? About 4, 5, 6 who have joined the ITF Center over the years. And then from there, college tennis.
Well, I tell you what, Wanji, a good friend of yours is online with us. He's in Ethiopia. He's living the soft life, and he's been listening to this conversation. Bernard, your good friend is in studio, Wanji, and let me open it for you. You can start your conversation whichever way you may want.
Well, first of all, Wanji Mbogwa Karani, congratulations. I think you sit on the ITF board as well. Are you a player's representative, or what are you on the ITF board?
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
No, he's congratulating you because he says you sit on the ITF board.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Bernard. Thank you very much.
I think you do, yeah. And for Angela Okutoi, let me tell you something, Angie. I haven't met you yet, but I hope that Ken has given you a big hug, and I mean literally big for his size. Give you a big hug on my behalf, because I told him to do that. You don't know how long I've been waiting for you. I was rooting for you all the way when you were down in Australia. And I've been touting this all through. Wanji knows how many messages she has from me about turning up in the studio. So ultimately, she's managed to get in there. But I want to ask you something, Angela. For a young girl who's just 18, Australia is a long way away from home. How do you manage to keep your composure to be able then to train with the different time zones and to train and also to be able to, do well in the matches that you're playing?
Well, I would say I'm used to it now because I've traveled, I would say, a lot. And usually when I travel, it's almost like 2 hours behind, or I'm ahead of time from Kenya. So like I'm used to the time difference, and also the fact that I'm away from my family. It's quite normal now, and I'm used to it.
Maybe just create a picture how young you were when you first traveled out of Kenya, and how you had to adapt back then.
I was 10 years old when I had to travel to Burundi at a young age, and it was not easy because it was my first time actually traveling outside Kenya, and I was alone. But the good thing I had, I knew the people at the center in Burundi, so they were really nice to me, and I really fitted well in the center. And from then, I've just been, it's just been normal. Yeah.
Like you're now used to it.
Yeah.
The moving is used to it, and you're able to manage being away from family, away from your sister, away from your grandmother.
Yeah.
James, tennis looks like a family altogether, because even in Australia, she was staying at a tennis friend's place. So it looks like one big happy family. I wanted to find out as well from Angela, now that the military also has a tennis court in this new stadium that has been done, maybe I should be asking Wanji Mbogwa Karani, are you going to network? Are you going to be? Are you going to have a partnership where you can train there, or you can also take people to train there? What are you going to do? Because most of the time when we think about tennis, we think about the Nairobi club. We don't think about anything else. We don't think about the JD Academy or any other place. We only think about the Nairobi club, and we think, this is a different class altogether. We can't get there. What arrangements are you going to have to be able to use those facilities?
Thank you, Bernard. We are certainly looking for these partnerships. Facilities has been a big issue in terms of tennis in Kenya is mainly played on Maram courts, which is not an international surface. So we are very happy that the facility there is looking at building a hard court. But one is not enough. One, we cannot play events. We can only kind of just have 1 to 4 players at most. So we are looking at partnering with other facilities that will be able to build courts. Tennis Kenya has recently signed an MOU with Sports Kenya to be able to build tennis courts, and we are just waiting for the funding from the government to be able to kick off.
Yes, Ken.
No, first of all, I feel very humbled to be seated next to this 18-year-old. You know, I've been rooting for this girl without
ever having met her.
With my whole heart. So I'm glad. Thanks that you're here. But I want to ask Wanji, you know, when we were growing up, there was a tournament, you know, the days of Paul Wekesa, I think Norbert Odur, I don't know who
Yeah,
else.
and Opolo.
And Opolo.
Yes.
We used to play in a tournament called the Davis Cup.
Yes.
And I think we were zone. I don't know what zone we were in. What happened and why don't we play anymore?
Oh, we certainly do.
Why is it
You have not been following
Ken,
tennis.
you'll get fined. You'll get fined by Wanji.
Yes,
Oh.
yes. Our Davis Cup players will not be happy with you because 2 years ago they've consistently won Group 3 and moved on to Group 2, but we have kind of a ceiling at Group 2 and have not been able to crack through to play Group 2, but we have played in the playoffs for Group 2. We are back to Group 3 now, and we're going to be playing between June and August. We're still waiting for the date.
Good. So now, beyond that,
Yes.
because those who used to play that at that time would then go on and become professionals. What's the plan? For example, with somebody like Angie, is that her path? Is that the way to go?
Now, that's a good question that you should be asking Angie.
Yeah, her mentor.
As Tennis Kenya, we are here to support her dreams, whichever way she would like to. Usually the pathway is 2 ways. You can finish, get to 18 and then go professional, or you can get to 18 and go to college and then turn professional. So we are guided by the players and what their dreams and aspirations are.
Angie is here. Angie,
Yes.
what's your dream? What's your path? Which one are you picking of the two?
Then I'll tell you what I dreamt for you.
Well, for me, ever since I was young, my goal was to play at the professional, like playing with the pros and playing at the big stages, at the Grand Slam. But realistically, what I can say is that my path is to go to college and then turn pro.
Aha, so you're already looking at go to college and then turn pro as you continue.
Yeah.
Wanji, that's been one of the areas that Kenya has lost a few of its tennis players, is that they go to college and then somewhere along the way we go back to books, career, we forget about it. How big is that a challenge in terms of you guys churning out a top level pro?
It is, of course, it's been a challenge, and it takes a lot of resources for that to happen. And as much as we put in the money, when it comes to turning pro, it's a whole different ballgame in terms of finances. With Angie, we are working very hard to make sure she has the finances. We have fundraisers, and we have put in requests to the government, to ITF. So we are looking at all avenues to try and make sure she does that. But most of our players, as you say, have really gone to college and then decided to continue with their career paths away from tennis.
Just paint a picture of how expensive is it just to go to the Australian Open, just go to the French Open, even as a junior?
It is expensive, and right now on our table we have about a budget of about 10 million for French Open and Wimbledon, the combined tour. Because when you look at it, she requires accommodation, and she needs to travel with a coach. They need to, there's meals and transport and all these things. And then it's for several weeks at a go. So by the time she leaves now in May, she'll only be back in July. And, you know, sometimes we hope she can even come home for 3-4 days, be with her family and then go. So it is an expensive.
So you're almost like crowdfunding, like you're looking for money everywhere, just to make sure she's able to travel.
That's right, yeah.
Bernard, there is a clarion call for fans.
Yeah. First of all, I just want to ask Wanji, there is a little bit of a gap between, Angela getting to college and professional, and where she's coming from. And I just wanted to know what Tennis Kenya is going to do to bridge that gap. There used to be Sadili Oval that had, I think, 2 or 3 tennis courts that was probably producing also players. I don't know if Tennis Kenya has a partnership with Sadili Oval as well, or how do you bridge this gap of trying to get young players to get to the level where Angela Okutoi is at the moment, before we talk about the monies?
In terms of, there's not really a gap, as you'd call it, but as part of our system, we have from national training program, which is where a lot of our children are. And then there's the ITF Center, which unfortunately has closed for now. So what we are looking at is if we can get 2 courts built, we'll be able to do our own very high performance center, because Kenya has the coaches. We are very highly qualified, educated coaches, and that's a big thing. They're actually usually poached by ITF. So we have the coaches, all we need is a facility. So Sadili Oval, unfortunately, is no longer operating.
It's not been operating for a while now.
Yes. But currently, we are still using Nairobi Club. Even Angie, for most of her time at the ITF Center, was training at Nairobi Club. And when we need hard courts, we also go to Peponi School, who have allowed us use of their courts.
So in totality, for you to continue developing talent and producing talent and nurturing talent, what are your main challenges as Tennis Kenya?
Back to facilities again. It's really a big thing for us. And then, of course, there's a money for traveling. The sports fund has actually helped quite a bit. We're still hoping they'll come on board for Angie. They have not sponsored a single thing as of right now, but they have sponsored teams that have traveled to different events, and that has really helped. Yeah.
Angie, what motivates you? What is the fire in your belly?
For me, what motivates me is my grandmother. Like that, she's my drive. So when I'm on that court, when I just think of her, I give everything. Because why I said that is the sacrifice she gave me, or when we were young. Like I really want to make her proud, and well, I can't show her how much I am grateful for what she did, but just by giving everything I have on that court, I think that's more than enough that I can give her right now. So she's the drive.
How supportive was she from the start?
I am thinking, James.
Yes, Bernard.
I'm just thinking out of the box.
Yes.
It takes 10 million to take one player to the French Open. You can imagine how many millions it will take to take 4 or 5.
Yes.
But I'm thinking, and this one you should not tell Angela, what if one of these days then we crowdsource, we fund and send Angela's grandmother, to the Roland Garros in France to the French Open when she doesn't know? Do you think that would make her get us a title there? What do you think?
That Bernard would be the ultimate if you think about it. Just you can imagine, like she says, her motivation, her drive is her grandmother. So if we could find a way, maybe we might say Roland Garros is too near because it's in May. But if we could find a way for Wimbledon, for example, or the US Open later on in the year, we do a crowdfund and we make sure, you know what, she is there. She's able to see her granddaughter. Has she ever watched you play?
Yeah.
We've got good sponsors.
No, at home.
Does she come to your matches?
When they're at home? Yes.
She comes. Does she enjoy it? Does she give you advice? What exactly happens? How's that conversation like?
Yes.
She's your number one fan, I guess.
Yes, she is. Yeah, she gives me advice. She motivates me, and she enjoys watching me.
She doesn't have to enjoy. She doesn't have to watch. She just has to be in the crowd. When Angela is just about to do her serve, all she needs to do is notice her in the crowd there. And that's all. You know those brief moments of tennis, she can just stop running and then come back and then do. And you'll see what that forehand would do now after she makes the next serve. We've got to think in fact, we have to think without the box. We have good sponsors. I'm sure one of our sponsors can come up and just say, how much is it to take Angie's grandmother to, and that's it. James, keep that thought as we go along.
I like the way you're thinking, Bernard.
Yes, Bernard, I agree with you totally, especially for her to go on, and Wanji is on board with that. She says yes. We've got to make sure that Angela's grandmother is able to watch her play outside this country, even if it's only once, Angela. And you are going to, what I gather is your favorite surface, the French Open. You like clay. So you must be excited going into the French Open. Why do you like clay?
I would say I like clay because I've played more on clay. Like I've practiced more on clay because in Kenya we have like clay. So that's how I think I like clay, because I've been playing more on clay. Yeah. You're
used to it.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with the fact that the ball bounces slower.
No.
Or anything else.
No.
It's just that's why you play a lot.
Yes.
So going into the French Open, what's your target? What's your goal? Like going to the French Open Juniors?
As I said on my other interviews, my goal is to beat the goal that I did in Australian Open, passing the 3rd round, and if I can go as far as I can, why not?
Wanji, how much will your fingers be crossed? I saw you during the Australian Open. You were barely breathing. You were Sawyer in Kakamega, and you were like, she's playing at this time. So it's again squeaky bum time.
It's true. We never used to sleep. We would all be up, just all the tennis people just texting each other and, you know, following it up. And yeah, so we are very excited. And this will be a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for Angela to bring down her ranking. We believe she can actually leave the year at top 20. And personally, I believe Wimbledon will be her best tournament. I know she likes the French Open, but I think Wimbledon she'll do extremely well.
Wanji, how do you build on Angela's success? How do we build on it? How do we get the next Angela? How do we sustain it?
Yes, that's a good question. The fire has already been lit, and now kids are playing. Man, you should see Nairobi Club. Even like you've been there the last couple of days. It's been amazing, and Angela has been coming around, and just them seeing Angela there, it's been really, you know. So now the problem will be to sustain it and be able to take them as far as Angela has gone. We cannot keep relying on others like the way we relied on ITF at some point, high performance centers for Angela. We have to do this homegrown and from home. We have everything it takes once the courts are built.
Yes, Ken.
Yeah, so let me now tell you what my dream for you was. My dream for you was that you go out to Egypt and to, I think it was Morocco as well.
Yes.
Now you're going to France, then you're going to England. And somewhere along the way, someone's going to see you. Someone's going to see your talent. And someone's going to say, you know what, I can do something with this. And then they're going to offer you a tennis scholarship in some university, maybe in the US or in the UK, wherever. And then you're going to grow from that. And you'll go, you finish that, and then you come back and be our superstar. And you'll be going for all the Olympics, all the Commonwealth Games, and all the World Championships. And that was my dream for you. Is that possible?
Yes.
Bernard, all we needed to add to that was Ken was blessings. You know?
Yeah. James, you have to sometimes stop Ken, eh?
Why?
Otherwise it starts sounding like Mganga kutoka Kitui. But I wanted to just tell, to ask Angela as well. I mean, what is it that she really clamors to have? I mean, what is it she really wants from tennis? It's one thing to want things for her. It's one thing to want her to go to this championship. What does she really want from it?
What do I want in tennis?
Yes, what do you want? What do you want to get from tennis? What's that thing that you want to get out of tennis?
Well, I would say I really want to inspire a lot of people out there, especially Kenya. And I really want to just be the inspiration anyone would want. And just the fact that like now in tennis, in Kenya, most kids I see there, they're not well off. So like me, I don't also come from a good, well-off family. So it's like we are the same. So me being able to inspire them, I think they will even want to do like as I did or even more. Because like, it's like we are the same, you know. It's not like I have much and they have less. So like they will think, she has much, so she's better off like in some way. But now the fact that we are both the same, kind of coming from the same family situation, like me being an inspiration to them, I think that's what they would love, and I'm really willing to inspire them.
How are you dealing with the newfound fame?
Then I have one suggestion, James, just for this one. Just one suggestion, eh?
Yes.
And this is probably going to 1G. You know the way, I think there's a tournament coming up. I saw some seedings that were being done, some draw that was being done. How about we name one of those courts to Angela Okutoi, so that we can say this game and this game is being played in Angela Okutoi court instead of court 1, court 2, court 3, which is so general. How about that? That's my last suggestion on this matter of Angela Okutoi, and I sincerely Angela, I hope that you're going to win a Grand Slam title at some point before you get to 23. I can feel it coming if this continues and if you've got good, very good support, which I feel the country owes you and is going to give it to you. So I really wish you that. And for Wanji, I'm just thinking, we better start now rather than start later. How about naming one of the courts in the tournament, regardless of what tournament it is? Even if you want to change it in the next tournament, let it be in this tournament that Game 1 and Game 2 are being played in Angela Okutoi court, not court number 1 or court number 2. That's my suggestion.
Yes, Wanji.
Thanks, Bernard. That's a great idea. And that one we can do. And better yet, when we open our center at Kasarani, we'll certainly have one named after Angela.
Brilliant,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Angela,
I like that.
Maybe my final question to you is, how have you dealt with the fame? I mean, I think maybe last year, Baton, you'd have walked in Nairobi, not many people knew who Angela Okutoi is other than the sports writers, but now every single person wants a piece of you. How different is it? And how do you deal with that attention?
I would say it's different, yes. And it's weird at the same time because I'm not used to it. But how I deal with it is that I don't put it too much in my head like I'm that big. Like usually my grandmother usually tells me like, don't let the ego get into you, just act like you're nothing. Like just be a random girl you used to be. And that's what I've been doing, just thinking like I'm not the girl who did third round in Australia, just the girl who never even played Australia. So I think that's how I've been dealing with fame and all that.
Would you have any message as we end? Would you have any message for everyone who's watching, for our viewers, for the corporate world? What message would you like to send out there as Angie?
Well, I don't have a message to tell them, but I have a philosophy that I have for myself. It's just a negative mind will never give you a positive life.
Wow.
Absolutely fantastic. Wanji, can you talk that as we end the segment?
No, for me it's just to say we're extremely proud, very proud of this young girl here. And we are wishing her all the best in her exploits in the near future. She has inspired the nation. She has inspired people to play tennis. And the other day we were at the Olympic camp and she came to visit, and all the young, their age between 12 and 18, was so excited to see her. So just by being her, she's inspiring, you know, people across all the sports. And we are grateful and hope that the others coming up will be inspired by her. Yeah.
Well, ladies, Angie, thank you very much for showing up. I wish you nothing but the best at the French Open and at the Wimbledon. Bernard and I will try and figure out that whole story of making sure your grandmother gets to watch you, at least in one of them, so that she can sit back and be saying, that's my granddaughter. For you, Angie, the challenge is on you.
Yes.
You gave us Angela.
Yeah.
We want the next Angela and the next Angela and the other Angela.
Yes.
And the only way that can happen is if you guys at Tennis Kenya continue doing the good job. But once again, thank you, ladies, for coming, braving the Mombasa Road traffic, and make sure you get here. We appreciate you. As you heard from Bernard, he's been wanting this. He feels a bit jealous because he's out in Ethiopia. We are here, but you know what? We all one family. But thank you very much. You've heard it there from the two ladies. One is a tennis prodigy. She's a girl who's going to go places. She will be at the French Open, and we are wishing her nothing but the best. And of course, from Wanji Mbogwa, a lady who's synonymous with Tennis Kenya, a lady who's behind some of the good work that is happening at Tennis Kenya. And all we can say is let them keep the fire burning. When we come back, we talk about what to expect this Easter weekend.
KTN News. Get the whole story.
Are you ready? Uko set. Kenya nzima iko standby. Saka chapa imerudi. Kubwa na tamu zaidi.
Radio Maisha, Saka chapa.